Hello, Pat Nevin.
Hi there, how you doing, Joey? Well?
Yeah, great. So, well, what a weekend to reflect on. We've talked, Kev's been in and out already. He's got his work done early tonight, so we've touched on some of the games with him. We've touched on City and United, and I do want to get your thoughts on those games. However, we haven't talked at all really about the madness that was Chelsea 3, Arsenal 2. What an insane game, what an insane first half. Just to jog people's memory. So Chelsea scored a goal. It was the Pedro goal where, Alonso gets down the left-hand side completely free and in for Pedro, and he scores. And then Morata scored, dink over the top, and you're thinking this is going to be 5 or 6. This is an embarrassment. Arsenal are missing chances in the midst of everything. And then Mkhitaryan and Iwobi with goals in the space of 4 or 5 minutes. And things calm down a touch in the second half. Hazard comes on and does his thing. Kante is starting to cheat by being an attacking midfielder now. That's a broad summation of where we are.
Yeah, that's a good covering it. Without going over the top about it, Hazard's come in both games and he's been absolutely astounding. It looks as if he's playing against kids. It's so easy for him to get by people. So he's been brilliant in the few little cameo appearances he's had, and he's just continued to make goals every time he gets. So they bring Hazard on, it makes a change, and that was the difference in Chelsea winning that game. Chelsea's defence is quite funny sometimes because they're so used to playing 3 at the back, and getting covering each other and having Kante in front of them, and then suddenly they've got Sarri comes in. He played 2 centre backs, the full backs fly forward, and the sitting midfielder is now Jorginho, who doesn't really defend. He's fabulous on the ball, but does that make it wrong? Because there's been plenty of players in the past, and we can name one particular Italian who wasn't quite bad, and that's sitting midfielder passing from very, very deep. But he's not a defensive player. Hence, Arsenal got all those chances from cutbacks. And it was an extraordinary game. I'm not the best predictor of scores in the world, but in the kind of fantasy football thing I did, I went for 3-2 Chelsea before the game. They got 70 points for it. I was not surprised by it because there's 2 teams that want to attack, and if we have to defend, we might think about that at some point. And do you know what? I spent last night all evening with Tony Adams. I was interviewing Tony Adams at the Edinburgh Book Festival for his new book coming out, and honestly, as soon as you bring up the subject of defending with Tony, particularly at Arsenal, you just let him go. He just rants forever about it. They're not thinking about defending now. It's just gone out of fashion. In the Premier League now, there's so many teams at the top. It's just an afterthought. It's not worked on at all.
Well, I guess that's the explanation. I was about to say it's inexplicable and surmise the 2 Chelsea goals again that this is happening, but you've just said it. They don't work on it at all. Like the way Mkhitaryan just lets Alonso go for the first goal, and then the way Pedro is not kind of tracked at all. Like there's a few moments where Arsenal can really get on top of him when Alonso goes down the left-hand side, and then like the other goal where it's just dinked up to Morata, and I think it's Monreal and Mustafi, but between the 2 of them, he's just kind of left in a one-on-one, and in he goes. And I was about to say to you, how does this happen? And you're saying, well, it's not worked on. But like, does Mkhitaryan need to work on the fact that like you're playing in that position? Clearly Alonso is your man. Like a Sunday pub team and have a vague idea that clearly he's your man. You should track back on him. I just kind of think you're tearing your hair out. Would you not want to, even on just a very superficial level, impress the new manager?
Well, do you know the odd thing is there's generally nothing that new in football. Very rarely you get something that's completely new. But, the 2 teams that played in the World Cup final played 4-3-3, which is very attack-minded, especially as the top 3 don't retract back. They just let players run off them. Now, everybody knows that means the fullbacks can run off them with impunity. And that's been happening with a lot of teams just now.
Okay.
And when you watch it happening, as I say, nothing's new in football, really. When I played at Chelsea, we played a kind of 4-3-3. But exactly what you're saying, I knew if my fullback went, I went with him. And if I didn't go with him and something happened, I had to walk in the dressing room at half-time or full-time, put my hand up and say, sorry, guys. And I can remember doing that maybe twice in my career. In my career, that's 800 games, twice where I didn't follow people. And, it was a mistake, brain freeze for a minute. But you're seeing it all the time at the moment with top international players. And I'm like you, and I'm like most fans out there as well. I'm absolutely and utterly aghast at it. But I think it must be down to the managers. They're saying, well, you're attackers.
Yeah.
You're watching the game tonight. Mo Salah, does he go back? No, he doesn't. But then who was arguing with that when he scored about 40 goals last season? So it's one of those things. What you gain is brilliant attack and creating more chances in a very open game, and what you lose is this phenomenal mad openness. Now we laugh at it, but the one team at the top level, the top of the league that doesn't play like that is Manchester United. And let's be fair, they're not doing that well, are they?
Now, how's that working out for them? Yeah.
It's not, and it may well be. It goes through, football goes through these periods and these phases, and sometimes the World Cup can have a massive effect. And I think maybe people have looked at the World Cup and thought, right, attack's the way to go. Liverpool got to the Champions League final last season by a purely attacking attitude. Manchester City won the league by having that attitude.
Yeah.
And teams are doing well with it.
I don't want to like make the mistake of reading too much into a manager's comments after a game, but like Emery after the City game was asked about Ozil and how hard he worked defensively and then the team generally, and Emery said every player needs to defend in the true moments of a match. Every player needs that commitment. For me, we need to start together whether we're attacking or we're defending. So that is, if we are to take that to the bank, that is Emery's philosophy. So that does not tally with what he saw Mkhitaryan do right in front of his touchline. So the interesting question is, between now and November, when is the next time Arsenal face a top 6 side in Liverpool? They've got a great run now. It's going to be very interesting to see what Arsenal emerges over the next 2 months. Yeah,
I'd be keen to see it. Will he get that work rate out of them? Now, Mesut Ozil, we all know his capabilities. I think you always have to say that. But you watched him in the World Cup, and I was at a few Germany games at the World Cup, and the work rate was negligible going back. So that he's not been asked to do it with the national team. And it looks as if he's not really willing to do it, and he doesn't feel as if he should be doing it. He's number 10 position. And it was a classic moment when playing against Chelsea, and Jorginho was getting the ball like so many times. He was just on the ball constantly. Well, he's the sitting midfielder, and he's playing against Ozil, who's the 10. Well, you got to mark him. It's simple. But he wasn't going near him. So it's that Mkhitaryan's not noted for his defending, but you've got to go and get yourself in a position. Look, there's many of us who are attack-minded players who are not the best defenders in the world, but you know how to get yourself into a position where the player has to get by you, or you can slow him down, or you can show him wide.
Yeah.
It's pretty simple stuff, but it is stunning to see so few people, well, so many big team players not doing it now.
In big games, yeah. Not to ask a stupid question. Why is the best defensive midfielder in the world not just playing in defensive midfield? Like, why can't this be arranged somehow? Why is Kante doing what he's doing?
Well, I've been asking this question. I write a column for the Chelsea website, and I've asked this question 3 weeks in a row. And the answer is, actually, you're going to help me here. Who's the best sitting midfielder that Italy have ever had? It's Andrea Pirlo, isn't it? Right. Pirlo was amazing in that position. Sat at the back, sprayed the ball, controlled the game, absolutely dominated all games. Couldn't generally tackle a fish supper.
Yeah.
But it worked.
Yeah.
Now, Jorginho's the same. I'm not saying he's as good a passer, but he controls pace of the game, on the ball all the time. A lot of the time plays the right passes. He's actually made a couple of mistakes this season already. But generally, he can control the game. But to do that, you have to be central. And if you're playing 4-3-3, you have to be the central guy. So you've no longer got Kante in there. Now, you're thinking Kante must play, so he will play somewhere. You'll find a place for him. And he made some amazing runs and done some amazing things, but he wasn't as good as he is at his normal position.
No.
So you're going to have to find a way. Now, watching the way he got his Napoli team playing Sarri, he should find a way. He knows 4-3-3 better than anyone else. And it may well be that he will find a way. Somebody has to play a half position. Kante gets a little bit closer on the right, and whoever's on the left, gets, makes it a little bit wider, goes a bit further forward. I don't know what the answer he's going to come up with, but I've been asking that question every single week. Now, if you're him, you've got 3 players in the middle. You've got to play Kante. You cannot drop Kante.
Yeah.
Jorginho's his main man. You won't drop him. So now you've got a list, and I've got it down here. You've got Cesc Fabregas, Ruben Loftus-Cheek, Kovacic, who's just bought, who come on and looked lovely, and a great player. Drinkwater, Barkley, who's been playing. All 5 players, all like international class players, all playing for one position. And it's not going to be the best player that gets there. It's the one that makes the balance right with the 3. And that's what you're waiting to see. The balance hasn't been right for Chelsea. But somehow, I just get the feeling Sarri's going to find a way. But like you, it's kind of not perfectly suited to Kante being not there. And the other thing is, you talked about those cutbacks. Arsenal kept on getting to the byline, kept on cutting the ball back, exactly into the area that N'Golo Kante, instinctively always stands. And if eventually you'll start seeing it with the pundits and the TV, they'll start showing you where Jorginho goes at that moment. He doesn't chase back. He walks. Yeah. He doesn't run in. He doesn't read it. And you think, how terrible is that? Well, it only looks terrible because you've watched Kante doing it. So the answer to the question is, we don't know yet. And it's interesting to see it. If he gets it right, it'll look brilliant. I can't see how it's going to work right yet, but that doesn't mean to say it won't work right eventually for Chelsea.
Okay, we'll watch this space. As we leave that game, my favourite Sarri story from the weekend, I didn't realise this. So Sarri's puffing away on 4 or 5 smokes an hour. That's an hour. He is a chimney. And he's rumoured to be in talks with Chelsea to get a green light to build a smoking area in the training ground, because frankly, if you're smoking 4 or 5 an hour, you need one. Happened at Napoli, happened at Leipzig. Sarri's puffing on 5 an hour. That's not good.
It's not going to look good in front of the players. Some players do smoke. Not a lot. I wouldn't say 4 or 5 an hour. You're right. The audience of it is, if you're doing that and you need that, and you're addicted to that, spending time with players and, in buildings, because it's like in the UK, there's no buildings anywhere where you can smoke. So he's going to have to try and find places and get places built for him. Yeah. You suspect he's not going to be able to change now in the age he is. But, he's a very interesting character. And like a lot of the guys in the game just now, you're going to enjoy some of the things he says. He comes with a completely different attitude. And purely by his attitude, see if he doesn't win anything this year at Chelsea, for the first time ever, I don't think he's in danger of getting sacked. Because I think he'll play interesting football. Yeah. He'll play exciting football. Every week, betting 4 or 5 goals being scored in Chelsea games. I don't know who's going to score them, Chelsea for or against, but it's going to be so exciting to watch them. And I think that's what the owner wanted more than anything else. And the lovely thing is, see if you're a footballer, it's brilliant playing in that. Well, it's terrible if you're a defender because you're left wide open all the time. Yeah. But maybe that's the reason why he smokes so much, because he puts so much pressure on and it's so exciting and so stressful all the time. You
can generally bet when Manchester City are playing there'll be goals. There were 7 at the weekend, and you can also generally bet that they'll score at least 4 when that happens. As it happens, they scored 6. They went with a 3-5-2, which is kind of interesting. Aguero and Jesus, they scored 4 between them, a hat-trick for Aguero. David Silva was just... I know you rave about Silva. I know you give a deep love for David Silva and his pass appreciation and his movement. And we were just talking here with Kev earlier, and you think what he's been through with his son, and suddenly his son's at the ground and his partner's at the ground. Like, he played with a lightness, like there was an energy about him, and it made the first half just a joy to watch in particular.
Fabulous release as well. Every player who's had a length of career has had some terrible times to go through, whether it's losing a parent, losing someone close to you, having whatever struggles that we all do as human beings go through it, and people generally don't know about it. And quite often, the one place where you've got, space where you can get your head clear, is actually on that football pitch. And, you could just see it. He was bouncing, he was smiling, he was seeing everything before everyone else. And it was classically the amount of people that were asking, last week, what's going to happen without Kevin De Bruyne? And I'm thinking, you've got David Silva. it's quite good. I don't know why anyone was waiting. Oddly enough, I was talking to Sean Goater. Oh, yeah. Remember the goat? I was talking to him about it.
Who could forget the goat?
And when he was brilliant, and he was sounding slightly concerned, and I'm going, don't be stupid. Don't even be slightly concerned about that. In fact, it might even be a positive thing, because De Bruyne will actually get a rest now, an enforced rest. And when he comes back in November, because it is the type of injury he's got, it's a set time. It's not something that's going to affect him long term. He'll be absolutely fine when he comes back. He'll be the same player, but he will have rested because he didn't get a lot of rest during the World Cup. And he is one of these players that he doesn't cruise about not trying in any games. He puts everything in. So, he's not superhuman. He could have probably done with it. So it's an enforced rest. He's got it. And it probably won't be the worst thing in the world, because City will be in top of the league when he comes back. City will still be in the Champions League when he comes back, but he'll be fresh as well. And, what an extra that will be adding to that team. They're really struggling to find a weakness there in that team. We were watching the Liverpool game tonight.
Yeah, still 1-0.
And they thinking they must be the closest. But watching them tonight, and I'm sure you probably feel the same, and anyone watching will feel the same, they're a long way behind City.
Yeah,
you know,
there's a gap.
long.
City, do you feel like City are going to a new level under Pep again? Like almost with each passing season, they kind of move up a gear in terms of understanding what he wants.
Yeah, I think so. You know, Mahrez just looks fabulous when he's come on. You know, so you can add that to it, which is scary. But I do really think, and I try not to say the same thing every week, but Mandy's the answer. You know, you put him in left back position, and it's just hilarious where he picks the ball up, the quality of his crosses. You know that how good he is as a defender as well. I mean, I've said it. I never feared playing against anyone. You know, you just get out and play against a guy. Don't care who you are, what your name is. Tell you what, that'd have been a tough one.
Yeah,
that wouldn't have been enjoyable playing against him.
No, there's no obvious weakness there. We've about kind of 90 seconds, 2 minutes territory. We're going to play an interview Gary Breen, who was on commentary with Dave McIntyre, did after the game at the Amex in a couple of minutes. So they were fresh from that game, and I suspect kind of shell shocked or certainly buzzed up by just how bad Manchester United were. Like what are you making of this? I mean, like, is this going to settle down, or are you starting to think this may have the look of something a bit more serious in the short term for Manchester United with Mourinho, and he's gone in as favourite now to be the first man out?
Well, we talked about it last year, and I kept on saying, no, I think they'll be fine.
Yeah.
You know, I think Mourinho will get the best out of them. You know, he's just a winner. You know, I didn't think he would beat City, but again, he got second place. But you're right. This is different. This definitely feels different. You just look at the body language around the group, and it looked particularly bad in that game. The lack of fight, and it didn't look like a World Cup hangover to me. The players, it just looked like it's strangely disorganised. And I think Mourinho at the moment finds himself caught between a couple of rocks and a couple of hard places. Number one, he didn't get the defenders he wanted, so he's not very happy about that, and I don't think he's very good at hiding it.
Yeah.
But he knows he's got a weakness there. So what he would do when he finds his team not cruising like that, he will go back to basics, and he'll put a team out that's incredibly hard to beat, that's very structured, very strong, very one-dimensional, and that's fine, except that it's Manchester United. And the United fans have had enough of that.
Yeah.
And there's a few players there that look as if they've had enough of it as well. So he's got into that position, and he's now getting very close. I agree. I think he's getting very close to that position where it has been before with other clubs, particularly with Chelsea on his last occasion there, where the players are looking around thinking, I don't know if I want to do it really for you. And the quote's coming out. So I'm not saying it's finished. I'm definitely not saying that. But the fact that he's not got an ability to bring anyone else in now, I think that's a killer for him. That's a really tough one for him. He's going to have to manipulate and get the best out of those players. And I think that's a tough job he's got on. Second place is going to be tougher for them this year.
Gary Neville on Monday Night Football showed a clip of Ed Woodward sitting in his seat at full time for another 2-3 minutes, just sitting there. And Neville was saying, like, this is a display of some kind of discord here. Like, you should just get up, shake the hand of the opposing director or chief executive and just move in. But he sat there kind of glaring on the pitch. Just another sign that this whole thing's a bit funny. So it's all kind of mounting up in different angles.
You can feel it, and look, everybody's spotting it now that it's different. It's different this season even than it was last season. The oddness of the fact that Luke Shaw seems to be the one that he's getting most out of is quite ridiculous. But we know what Mourinho's strength is. If he gets that centre-back pairing, two big, strong centre-halves, he gets Matic back in there, Pogba in there playing at his best, Lukaku up front. It's a big, strong, hard-to-beat unit.
Yeah.
But he's got to get them all buying into it. And, when you see that group, Matic obviously wasn't there, but that group not exactly buying into it, that's a really concerning time. You can play football that's not pleasing on the eye at Manchester United as long as you're winning. You can't if you're not winning and you're not playing well. So, yeah, I would agree now. It's very, very early days. I don't think he's ready to be sacked, but it's much, much more concerning than any other period during his time at Manchester United.
OK, Pat, we'll leave it there. Mane's just scored a second for Liverpool on the break. We'll leave it there. Thanks a million, Pat.
Pleasure, guys.